Hey friends, and welcome to There and to Back again. I'm Logan. Thanks for visiting me today. It's been a couple of weeks since my last update. The past couple of weeks have been incredibly busy as I jump into some new education and training opportunities that I've found, and so that's taken up a lot of my time lately. But today, let me do a little bit of upkeep here. I am smoking my Amarelli Roccella, Roccella, that was gifted to me by my good buddy Ryan. It's a great pipe, and in it I am smoking. Let me see if I can get that in there. You can see the pipe. In it, I'm smoking a mystery English mixture that was sent to me by my friend Joseph, JBN951. And it was, I didn't even know it was on its way. It showed up in the mail today. So it's an amazing English blend, a lot of Kia heavy, which I love, and I'm enjoying it a whole lot. So that's what I've got going today. But the purpose of today's video is a comment that I received on an older video. Hold on while I light. Been working on this bowl for a while. It's a real tall bowl. But on my video where I pitted Dunhill Durbar against Robert McConnell Original Oriental, I received an interesting comment, and I'll read it. I love the kind of comments on videos that leave me thinking about things, that make me, that sort of send my mind working and trying to figure out a problem. And he brought up an interesting one. So this comment is from user Radek Vasily. I'm sorry, Radek, if I messed up. I'm not going to be able to smoke and read this, so I'm going to just set it down for a minute. He says, McConnell's Oriental contains Virginia Latakia Oriental, Black Cavendish, and, all caps, Perique. How can you compare this with Durbar, which is Virginia Latakia Oriental? Absolutely different blend. So I'll address that point, which is the base of both of them. First of all, they're both Oriental blends. That's why I pitted them against each other. The foundation for each of those blends is Virginia, Latakia, and Oriental. The addition in the McConnell tobacco of the Cavendish, which is used as a smoothing agent, and the Perique, which a lot of people don't realize is actually used as a smoothing agent as well. It creates a rounded flavor. It does add a little bit of a peppery flavor, but it's also just a smoothing agent. So sometimes a lot of people will include those just to better meld the other base tobaccos. So that's why I did. But here's the part that sent me kind of thinking a lot this week, and that comment is, why chasing ghosts by looking for something similar to Durbar when you can enjoy tobacco much more complex and better right now? Buy it, smoke it, enjoy it, store it. Next generation will be looking for something similar to Robert McConnell's Original Oriental. First of all, Radek, thank you so much for taking the time to so passionately comment on the content of the video, and you bring up some thought-provoking points here. Is why are we, as you put it, chasing ghosts by longing for or seeking those old blends that we had tried before and looking for something that might compare to them or replace them? So that point is something that I considered when McClellan went out of business. There was a lot of clamor in various pipe groups about this void that was created when McClellan shuttered of all of these very, very fine tobaccos. McClellan's were so fine that I'm sure most of you, if not all of you that are watching this right now, probably have some cellared. You may be even smoking it right now. They blended the tobacco very well. They cured the tobacco very well. The way that they did their Virginias is unlike any other tobacco, any other Virginia out there. So there was something that was rather unique about McClellan tobaccos, as every single one of you know. And if you haven't had a chance to try McClellan, this would be a good opportunity to reach out to some of your other pipe community members and see if you can score a little bit, whether by purchase or by gifting. They really were remarkable tobaccos. And I remember in these different forums, people saying that it's, you know, almost claiming like it was the pipe tobacco apocalypse, because there's nothing out there like it. They might as well hang up their pipes. And I remember pondering, well, there's actually so many good tobaccos on the market. Why lament the loss of this line when there are fantastic lines of tobaccos still out there and available? And as I pondered this week, excuse me, it kind of occurred to me that this is what we do. We chase ghosts in almost every area of our lives. This is why top 10 lists or top 5 lists or top 3 lists are so popular on YouTube or with BuzzFeed or whatever. You see a list of people saying the top 10 best fill in the blank, best movies, best albums of all time, best whatever. And we click on those because we want to see how much we agree and oftentimes disagree with these lists. What somebody else considers best, we're curious about that. It prompts this sense of curiosity, because this, as Raddick put it, chasing ghosts. We have these experiences, and I'll tie this to my video specifically with Durbar. Durbar is what I would consider a ghost of the Dunhill line. They don't make it anymore. When Peterson picked it up, they didn't. I'm hoping that they will one day bring it back. This ghost, when I first experienced it, I had not experienced an Oriental like that before. In fact, I hadn't experienced a tobacco like that before. There was, I remember, and you can kind of draw these experiences out of your own memory, and whether it be with tobacco or albums or movies or books, that there is this, it creates this peg in your memory that you can hold on to, in which you can point to that very moment. You know where you were, you remember that feeling when you first smoked it, or you first read it, or you first watched it. And there was this sense of, in that moment, you knew you were experiencing something unique, something you hadn't tried before, something you hadn't seen before or smelled before. And so, because it gets tied to this long-term memory, it becomes something that once that experience is over, we long for that experience again. And that is why people chase ghosts, because we're looking for that experience that creates this sense of nostalgia, or sense of longing, or sense of some experience that creates a memory for us. Like, I can point to an album in my memory, the first time I heard it all the way through. My favorite album of all time is Graceland by Paul Simon. And it's an album that I've listened to thousands of times. It came out in 1986. I first heard it probably in the early 90s, though I'd heard songs of it in the late 80s. The full album didn't reach my kind of on my charts until the early 90s, when I gave it a fair shake and realized this is something unique. And I remember the summer that I kept it on repeat. And it's still one that I visit when I don't know what to listen to. I put on Graceland. And surely there are other albums that fall into my top 3 or my top 5 or top 10, whatever you want to add. But there's something about that album that draws me back. And I'm always, every album that I listen to, that whether I like it or not, gets compared to this album in terms of the structure of it, the way the whole flow, the theme of it, the feel. How does it make me feel? And so likewise with tobaccos, we're constantly looking for that thing that might fill the void. Like Frogmorton Cellar. That was the first of the Frogmorton and the first McClellan that I had ever tried. And when they shuttered, when they closed their doors, I remember I went online and found as much of that as I could, which by the time I realized that there wasn't much out there that I could afford. So I ended up buying a number of other types of McClellan tobaccos. And just so I could hold on to that special flavor, that unique experience that one gave me. And when Dunhill announced that they were closing, my Desert Island blend is Early Morning Pipe. And luckily, I found out that I learned that was my favorite tobacco before they announced they were shuttering, or that they were closing or stopping their pipe tobacco line. And so I hoarded quite a bit of that because I love it. And so you imagine I was elated when I found out that Peterson was bringing that one back. I had a feeling that was going to be the case because those are just some fantastic tobaccos that it's going to be hard for them to go away. And if they ever did, somebody is going to recreate them with some amount of accuracy. And Durbar, when I tried it created an experience in my mind. And so looking for that, something that I can compare to, and to compare the two, and I mentioned this in my video, to compare those two tobaccos is not, I wasn't looking for a replacement necessarily. I was seeing what this person calls an Oriental versus what this person calls an Oriental, and what is that chasm like between the two? There's a broad range, as Radek pointed out, that can be considered an Oriental tobacco. And that's why we as pipe smokers keep trying, is because we can have 100 different English blends and none of them taste exactly the same. Because there's almost unlimited ratios that you can do of various base tobaccos mixed with condiment tobaccos in different percentages that you can do, in aging, whether it's pressed, how the tobacco is treated, how it's dried, how it's cured, whether it's in a crumble cake or whether it's in a flake. There's so many different ways that you can experience tobacco that we're always doing this. Even you, Radek, you're constantly comparing one tobacco experience to the next. That's why we acquire them. And there are some of you guys out there that tasted half and half in the 1960s and decided that's it for you. Or Prince Albert or some of these OTC blends and decided that was it. Or St. Bruno. And you found the pinnacle and decided you don't need to look any further. And then there are people like me who, when I try something and I have a unique experience, I'm constantly chasing that next experience. And that's why I end up with jars and cellar full of tobacco of different varieties that I'm aging or just saving or whatever it is, I'm constantly chasing the ghosts of previous experiences. And we do that in all the areas of our life. And so, yes, there will be a generation that's coming up that will look at the tobaccos that are available now that may, later on down the road, may not be available. And they'll pine for those. Surely it might be Robert McConnell Oriental. But for me, that particular Oriental didn't reach that level of bliss that I achieved with Dunhill Durbar. There are those tobaccos that every single time I light them up, I can't stop making sounds of delight. And you guys know what I'm talking about. And then there are some that you put in your tobacco and you start smoking it and you realize this isn't what I wanted to smoke. This isn't the experience I was looking for. Don't get me wrong. I love tobacco. And I can probably count on one hand, in fact, I can count on 2 fingers, tobaccos that I can say I don't like. And I won't mention those here because I don't want to, as my brother puts it, yuck anybody's yum. But I like tobacco. And I've rarely met a tobacco that I don't like. And so I enjoy experiencing everything that these various tobaccos have to offer, but I am always looking for that thing, that experience, that unique thing that sticks in my memory and creates an experience that I can point back to and say, I know where I was, I know what I was doing, I remember what I was listening to, I remember all of these sort of this long-term foundational memory. And I think we all kind of do that in our lives. I do have one friend, and I won't name any names, Jeff, and he does not like to create lists just because he has a hard time, I think, creating comparisons. And I know he's going to watch this and probably comment. But I'm quite the opposite. I'm always looking to create a list of some kind and keep this running tally of things that I like the best. And that gives me something to kind of look forward to. It gives me, I know that in the future I will experience something wonderful again, just like I did in the past. And I do look forward to always trying something new. In fact, I'm smoking this blend that Joseph gave me. I don't know what's in it. I know a lot of Kia's in it. It's because I can taste it. But I don't know the ratios. I don't know if it's got a name to it or anything. But Joseph, I enjoy the heck out of it. It's hitting all the right buttons for me. So anyway, I just wanted to, this is just one of those sort of talk it out ponderance as Matches 860 would have done. It was a pipes and ponderance sort of morning. So anyway, I hope that this day finds you well. I hope that you're keeping your pipes warm, and I hope everybody has a really blessed day. If you have thoughts on this, leave me a comment below. If you're new to the channel, please click subscribe, and remember to like the video. Click the bell if you want to be notified when there's new content. Also, you can contact me if you want to have a longer discussion at my email address at westtexpiper@gmail.com. Again, thank you guys so much for joining me and listening to me today ramble on about chasing ghosts. And I hope that you guys have a very, very blessed weekend, very blessed day. Take care.